Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to Surviving Mars with a little bit of a theme of the Expanse. If you need a recap of the rules or goals, here they are. And let's get started. So, one of the first things I want to do here is, I'm going to set time to slow, which is rare for me. I want to flatten the heck out of this, this mountain here. I want to make room for a new dome. And this is exactly where I want my my dome to go. So we're going to flatten that, and we are going to, let's see, put, wrong thing. Put some dumping sites out here to contain the waste rock, and tell Amos to go help bulldoze it. Got a ship returning. There is one other ship than my new ship, my new cargo rocket. I'm not going to name it yet. I'm just going to launch it to Mars here. Empty. Totally, totally empty. So I did get some tips from all of you guys. One is that the founder period, I misspoke, is actually just when you can't send new founder or new people to Mars. It's not about, you know, that's pretty much all that it is. That it is about.
Breakthrough discovered.
So I misspoke. But as soon as we had that one person get born, that broke the founder period. So yes, I had a lot of comments about that, and I just wanted to mention that. Oh, I have behavioral shaping, which is the next thing I want to research. So we'll do behavioral shaping first, and then the nano refinement. I've been getting very, very, very unlucky with the sort of garbage technology that I've been given. It's just the nature of the game sometimes. This area up here barely has any metals or water. I mean, these things happen, but it's a bit of a bummer. It's going to definitely slow me down a bit.
Analyzed.
So the idea here is I'm going to put another dome here, and I'm going to have the new dome. Let's actually get this school up and running now that I have a bunch of children running around. This new dome is going to be sort of my engineering dome a little bit. So what I'm going to want to do is get a Martian University up and running. And that's going to help train some engineers for the new dome. This is going to heavily deplete my electronics. So I'm going to have to initially import electronics from Earth to make sure that I have enough electronics to keep my colony running. I'm also going to invest a lot of my polymers into upgrading my water grid or supply, whatever you want to call it. Now I'm in Nagata. So what I'm going to have Nagata do... Oh, I think I just destroyed the polymer, unfortunately. I'm going to have her run around or drive around and collect just polymers specifically because I have low polymer resources. I also have low food, but I'm not as worried about low food because we're manufacturing that. Alright, Holden, you can go over to research that. Nagata, I want you gathering all the polymers on the map to reduce my need to import from Earth. So we're flattening out that big old mountain. I'm planning on making this like nice and terraformed and pretty, but I need this space for a dome. The school's getting constructed. Soon to be the university will be constructed. That's going to tear through my electronics supply, but that's why that's fine. I'm going to have the bulldozer try to help move some of this waste rock. Alright, so now we have people going through school. I'm going to train survivor, composed, and enthusiast traits. That's what I'm going to prefer. I'm just going to put all the school into one shift. If I can help it. Same actually for my my nursery might be nice if that's a single shift.
Analyzed.
Alright, Mr. Holden, you analyzed an anomaly. Let's keep trying to find anomalies on the map.
Sector scanned.
Alright, so here's Nagata. Chasing down the polymers. I might have just tapped all the polymers I know of. Just doing a cursory look. Yeah, I think at this point, Nagata, you have all the polymers. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be too many. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have her manually load up some metals from this meteor strike and then deliver those 7 polymers. It's not a lot, but it's something. This ship here, the Rocinante, let's only allow the Donager to take exported metals. The Rocinante here is going to go on some expeditions. One thing, I received some tips, but I'll credit Talon for it. Moving my fuel depot away from too close to my my storage of everything else, so that if it was to be struck by meteorite, it wouldn't be catastrophic. My grocer, all of these sort of service buildings that I have, I'm going to set to high priority. And then I'm going to set the Martian University to medium priority, meaning that these guys that are trying to train are going to be prioritized to work in the workforce. And then the Martian University here, I want to train engineers. I just flattened out the section here that's going to allow for a new dome. And this dome is going to be my sort of my engineering dome. I have a passage potential right here that I'm going to connect over to there. So there we go. That's the new dome. All right. So some of these buildings aren't working because there wasn't people to work in them. All right. Let's reject specialists from them though, so that we don't have specialists flocking to work in non-specialist areas. I'm just trying to keep shops open while we train up some engineers. But I think I just made a muck of it. Oh no, we're good. We're good. The diner needs a no, you go work in the diner. Alright, so now all the shops have people working in them, and I don't currently have anyone going through Martian University, but that's fine. We have a huge... let's open more slots for the schools. We have a huge amount of young children that are soon going to enter the workforce. So Nagata, you're done. Let's go unload all your polymers. Now, another thing I'm going to need to do is let's go ahead and add... water demand, water production. It's nighttime, so I have some of that stuff off. Let's add an additional Moxie here to... Oh, this other ship got here. Additional Moxie so that we can export or produce more oxygen. At the moment, we're waiting to refuel.
Anomaly found.
Oh, anomaly finally. Let's only survey in one spot. Make it a little bit easier. Once this fuels all the way up, I can send people out to try to gain some new resources. So I'll queue that up. I also am running pretty low on housing space. Hopefully this dome gets built before that becomes a requirement. Another thing I was thinking about... turned off. Okay, yeah.
Anomaly analyzed.
That is turned off because I don't have machine parts. Honestly, Let's turn that back on. Oh, we don't need that on yet. Let's turn that off. Okay, that's about to take off. My behavioral shaping is most of the way done. Then we'll work on nano refinement. Then maybe biome engineering or Martian-born adaptability would be nice. Get them go through school and the asylums quicker.
Building
When
a
life
new
gives
home
you
on an
lemons.
alien world.
Awesome. So, you know, life is tough here, and he became enthusiastic instead of discouraged. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes they become cowards or something. Alright, so there goes that rocket. I can land this new one. I don't really need to land this new one yet. I'm going to land it over here, though. I guess I could have done that a long time ago. This is just the third rocket that I got. Renaming it the Nauvoo. And I'm not going to have it export anything. One of my celebrities must have died from old age or something, because I don't... Oh, no, she was probably sent on this this trip here. I take that back. She's not dead. She wasn't old enough to be dead, I don't think. So this medium dome is waiting on cement. Duty never ends. Okay, so I've discovered crash remains of another expedition. It's an unknown colony. So either I can gain a bunch of science and drone-free prefabs. I'd probably rather that.
Research complete.
So nano refinement and behavioral shaping both just instantly got done. Learning from their mistakes, I suppose. And then I have drone prefabs, which is kind of nice. So let's go ahead and build my first spire. My first spire is going to be a sanitarium. It's going to go in my Mariner Dome. Actually, let's rename this Mariner Valley 1. And then this one is going to be Mariner Valley 2. In Expanse, the Mariner was like a bunch of different sort of domes together. So that sort of represents it. So my passengers are ready to land. Nagata. Collect concrete, deliver concrete. Let's try to get this dome up and running. We're actually, no, take that back. Let's, first things first, let's go ahead and go to production, go to fuel. Let's make a little bit more fuel, because I don't have a whole lot of it, and I'd like some more. So if I'm adding a new dome, I'm going to need to up my oxygen, I'm going to need to up my water, I'm going to need to up my power. So power is another big thing. A lot of people have mentioned I should put batteries closer to my domes. The issue with that, however, is the problem I have with that is that I'd have to pay maintenance on them, and I don't currently make polymers. So instead, I just going to do what I'm doing. Right, so let's load concrete and deliver it. So yes, I do risk, if I get a meteor strike along my cable lines here, power outage, but I'd rather risk... I don't mind risking that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm adding some more power storage that I'm not going to really pay for. And then I'm going to add a whole bunch of power generation so that I'm absolutely assured to charge up my batteries every night. That's going to add a little bit of a strain to this drone hub. So if there's other drone hubs that can lend a hand. Alright, I don't have any graduates out of that yet. So I'm going to pause the construction of this dome. It's ready to go. I'm pausing it purposefully. Let's move this fuel even somewhere safer. I'll put it out there. And then do the same over here. And then let's turn fuel off. Turn fuel off for some of the general stockpiles
Sector
so that they
scanned.
don't load up fuel. Alright, Nauvoo, you're ready to launch. But you don't have any rare metals yet. Donninger, you don't have the fuel yet. Nagata, you could definitely help out with this. So what I'm going to tell her to do is load fuel and unload fuel. Alright, so my school's getting some graduates. Only one has gone through so far, which is probably this person. But eventually we're going to get some graduates going through the system and fulfilling roles. For now, I'm just going to work on engineers because I want to wean myself off of Earth electronics and machine parts. Alright, so the additional power that I just added to the grid looks pretty good. Nagata, what I'm going to have you do is... let's just move some metals around for now. I'm running out of housing and jobs. I could open up jobs by just opening up work shifts. But I'm not worried about that just yet. Let's see. Shopping. Wasn't open? Well, I do have an art store. It just doesn't have a day shift. Or morning shift. Okay, let's open up morning shifts. Which means these two are going to... let's not do morning shift beer. So you go work in the art store in the morning. That will raise my satisfaction a little bit. My morale and comfort. Hopefully. If it doesn't, you know, it's a waste of time, but whatever. Alright, I'm going to send the Nauvoo home with some rare metals. So I'm telling them to empty out the rare metals out of the Donninger, and we'll get them loaded in the Nauvoo. Nagata can help to automate some of that moving the rare metal process in a second here.
Resources are low.
I'm not too worried about food because I am manufacturing a whole bunch of it. Growing, rather. Not really manufacturing, but growing a whole bunch of it.
Research complete.
Alright, Martian-born adaptability is done, which means they graduate faster, which is really nice. I want to do some additional terraforming. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, 6 terraforming techs I think is a mile... no, maybe it's 8 actually is a milestone. 8, yeah. 8 is a milestone. But that's what I'm going to work on right now, is just to hit that milestone. Okay, we're going to soon have some engineers coming through, and then I'm going to need to build this dome. I could add the factories for engineering here, but I'd prefer to leave space to turn this into a science and food dome, and for Mariner Valley 2 to be more engineers. It helps to have somewhat specialized domes. You don't need to, but I like to. One thing I'm going to do is let's move this these depots here. So the food is going to be here, and the rare metals are going to be here as well. Alright, so the Nauvoo is ready to launch and is filling up with exports. Nagata. I want you a sec. Let's help to manually move some of these rare metals. Speed up the process. So the Donager is ready to go, and I'm going to send the Donager on a resource expedition, taking some population. So temporarily, some of my shops here are not going to have people working in them because I just sent them on an expedition, but they'll be home sooner or later.
It takes more than bravery to be a pun.
So one of my guys just became a coward instead of enthusiastic. That can happen. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, so we're moving some of the rare metals manually. Let's get Nagata back over to metal acquisition. Not that I need metals, but it's something productive for her to do. The Dozer doesn't really have any productive work right now. Just sort of sitting around, waiting
Anomaly
for
analyzed.
something to mow over. Unfortunately, the expedition I just got sent on. Let's try another one. Gonna remove a lot of the population from my planet temporarily, but it brought home metals, which is terrible because I really absolutely do not need metals in any way, shape, or form. So this thing's almost ready to launch with a full payload of rare metals, which I can sell to Earth, and then buy electrical components or electronics
Sector
and machine
scan.
parts to help manufacture here at home. So as you can see, a lot of the people are off-world right now, but they're landing back. A lot of these things aren't working until they land again.
Anomaly analyzed.
Okay, so the new anomaly I just got gave me polymers, which is really nice. I much prefer those over regular metals, because regular metals is just not all that useful to me, given that this planet is full of them. And I'm going to wait for the Nauvoo to fill up with rare metals before I send them on their way home to export. Alright, Donager. Is there others that I want to do? I don't have 5 officers, but I do have geologists to get resources. I can queue that to send up. I've got 3 geologists ready to go. Here's the other expedition, coming back with 25 polymers. Holden, is there really... I have not found any anomalies for you. Yikes. Some bad luck. Alright, so my workforce, most of them, minus 3 geologists, are back home working. Which is good. Part of me... Okay. Because I just sent my... Okay, my geologists... I don't know if they're going to produce metals to send to home for the Nauvoo before they go on this expedition. So I'm going to cancel this expedition and have this... have the Donager idle on the launch pad until these guys manufacture the metals that I want. Come on now. Give me anomalies. All right, so I have the metals for export now. I've made them. I just need to transport them over to the ship. So here's one of them.
Sector scan.
And here's another. Perfect. Which means geologists, tally ho. Oh, well, -1 fuel. So they're about to go. Alright, that means that as soon as those drones get there, this will be full up of metals. There's 29. Where's 30? Someone should be bringing in 30 any second here. Yeah, here it is. There's 30. You can automate this too with automated mode, but I kind of like to do it manually. Because sometimes you don't want to export metals if you're trying to manufacture electronics. So it's not always good to just fully automate everything. I think my power grid is robust enough for another dome. I'm not so sure about my water grid, though. Especially given that I am now, I have another fuel refinery. So another thing I might want to invest in, let's get Amos over here, is first thing first, I am going to flatten, let's reduce the size. I'm going to flatten out this sort of pit.
Anomaly
I'm holding
analyzed.
shift to queue up multiple multiple zones. Unfortunately, the planet, the anomaly it just analyzed is more stupid metal. Ugh, I don't want that metal. Alright, so what's left? 5 officers. I don't actually have 5 officers, and that's it. So I'm not going to be sending that anywhere anytime soon. So let's go allow the exportation of metals, of rare metals there. So what I'm going to be doing...
Sector scanned.
Ooh, that sector would have been really nice to settle in. Has water and rare metals, like a lot of them. Ugh. I started in the wrong spot here, is all I'm going to say. It's fine. I'll survive. I am going to be surviving Mars. Alright, Nagata, what do I want you to do? Alright, so we have a lot of people in the workforce. We do have an engineer that doesn't have work, so I'm going to start constructing this dome now. Now that we actually have engineers. I'm going to start to tell...
Research complete.
Yeah, here's my engineer working at the farm. I'm going to start to tell certain buildings to only allow specialists. So let's go get ready to make our passage. Hopefully it won't be blocked. That would suck. I'd have to break some... Oh, no, it's perfect. Alright, there's our little passage. I might want to move this food and metals over just a little bit.
Resources are low.
Domes life support 1. Yes, that is true. I'm going to turn off this dome entirely, actually, for the moment. Alright, so we are... This new dome is not really... Yeah, okay, so what do we need in this new dome? What we need to do is we need to wait for the 30 rare metals to export to Earth and then to buy a whole bunch of electronics. Because right now we don't really have a lot of electronics to do anything with. Unfortunately, I think the passage here is so small that it won't allow a drone ramp there, but oh well. So be it. We researched a topology AI. which allows drones to do landscaping projects a little faster. I'm going to research drone rover and conservation landscaping. Not that I need them, I don't. It's just simply 100% for the science. I'm not even sure I needed to flatten that out over there, but whatever. Couldn't hurt. So if I need more water, I can turn on this water extractor if the new dome requires it. But we do have 2 Moxies supplying oxygen. So now in here, what I could do is build a living complex. Okay, we have 2 engineers. Looks like load's pretty well balanced right now, actually. Alright, Alex Kamal. What I'm going to do is, let's build a concrete extraction down there, so I'm not running myself out of concrete.
Anomaly found.
And I'm going to use him as the drone commander. Alright, so that's perfect. I'll camp him here. What I should do is move this Universal Depot over into his sphere of influence so that he can use the resources. Ooh, I got a colonist. One of our genius colonists come up with an unusual request. Not work for 5 days. Alright. We're just going to let them not work. Forever. I'm just going to let them be a genius.
It's a rough life here on Mars.
And someone just turned to alcoholism, which means that they should... Let's make the sanitarium a really high priority to purge flaws from our community. Alright, so this Donager has nowhere to go unless I want to start building one of these special projects. I don't want to capture asteroids. I don't have funding for that. I don't have officers for that. I only have, what, 2 officers? Yeah. So I would need 3 more officers, and that's not going to happen overnight. Alright, so no one's homeless. I got 1 person living over here. A geologist. That's less than ideal. Oh, this actually... Turn this dome on. Alright, so this new dome is going to require a little bit more water than I'm currently manufacturing, so let's turn on the water extractor. This water extractor is going to need a little bit of repair.
The colonists are on the...
I know she's dehydrating. She'll be okay. It now has water. I have a 400 stockpiled water, so we'll get this repaired sooner or later. If I need to amplify it, I can, but I don't think I will need to. Finally, a new anomaly. New technologies. Oh, there was one over here that I just totally overlooked. So we'll get that research too. Okay, I'm going to launch the Rocinante with the few metals that it did have. Get that home. Concrete extractor is done. Nice. Let's add storage for concrete and dumping sites for the waste rock. What about you, Nagata? Alright, I just got a whole lot of funding for my rare metals, so let's do a cargo ship of electronics and machine parts in the hopes to be able to manufacture them myself. That was good. And then the Rocinante will be able to export a little bit of money, not a whole lot, a little bit of money, only carrying 7 out of 30, but it's something. Now, the domes here...
discovered.
Nope, printed electronics was the breakthrough. That allows you to make drone prefabs with metals instead of electronics. I think I have a lot of drone prefabs, don't I know? Yes, so you can set the domes to allow passages to be used for services, work, etc. Right now I'm going to allow them for work so that these 2 people have jobs. But eventually I'm going to not allow it for work and just to have this be an engineering area. I do need the electronics from Earth, though, for me to do that first. So before I start bothering with pushing ahead on deep scan again, I want to fully scan the whole map tiles, and then I'll worry about deep scan. So my production to demand is the same.
Anomaly analyzed.
There's more to the barren and...
Growth simulators. Cool, I like that. And what else did I get? Rare metal extraction production increased by 50%. That is fairly good. Plasma cutters. But it's very, very expensive research cost. And not a research I'm going to be able to get without a science lab. Speaking of science labs, do I have... Hawken Institute is something I definitely should invest in for additional science.
Sector scanned.
Now, we're kind of running out of sectors that are going to have anomalies until we get deep scan, because there's almost no buildable area on the remaining sectors to be scanned. Meaning there's pretty much no chance of finding anything good. I'm going to start only allowing specialists everywhere but the farm here. The farm will be where engineers go to work because I don't have any engineering for them yet. I will have that for them soon. But that will change pretty soon when I get my my cargo rocket back from Earth to Mars. Alright, I have a bunch of engineers ready to enter the workforce as soon as I have the electronics to set up a factory. I don't at the moment, and that's why I'm doing it the way I am. Well, the lights stay on overnight, which is good. I've added enough power grid and turned off enough stuff that needs to be turned off at night to make it throughout the night without running out of power, which is good. I go down to about a little shy of 50%. Some wiggle room. I'm going to allow the export of these rare metals, making a little bit more cash to you know, help out. My genius colonist is really producing a lot of science for me. I'm glad I told her not to work. She's cranking out 150 per soul. And right now I'm working on the milestone of or rather the mission profile of 8 terraforming technologies for an extra 100 research per soul, which will be really, really nice. Also getting somewhat close to my temperature goals. One thing I could do is turn on my greenhouse gas factories, work throughout the night as long as my power supply supports that. I'll turn off my concrete extractor for night. That doesn't need to run throughout the night. The Donager here, I'm going to send back to Earth. It's not full. That's fine. Alright, so the traits I want to remove from people will just be alcoholic, gambler, or auto. Auto being whatever negative trait. So for this one, he got coward. He was one of that event that caused him to become a coward. And, whoa, a lot of people piled in. You are another coward. You are a coward and a genius. Oh, yeah, you're that genius. And you are also melancholic. And yeah, that will help to remove these negative traits from my my people. And I do have Martian-born adaptability, which means that anyone who's Martian-born, like this genius here is Martian-born, will go through the sanatorium a lot faster than her Earthborn, than the Earthborn people. All right, let's make these two domes look a little different. All right, engineering dome. We'll have the hard ceiling like that, because they require less light, I guess. I don't know. Just role-playing here.
Research complete.
All right, dozer rover's done. I totally didn't need that. That was just to push ahead the mission profile. So 2 more terraforming researches left. Until I get that extra science. Uh-oh, that's not good. My scrubber is malfunctioning due to a lack of electronics. It will get repaired because I do have electronics on me, and then I have this the Nauvoo is bringing a bunch of electronic payload to the planet in a moment here. And that's the first thing I'm going to start manufacturing is electronics. Right, I'm going to bring Holden back to the area up here because I've pretty much scanned everything that's going to yield anomalies. All these other tiles don't have buildable area, which means I can't even drive to it, which means it can't really have anomalies. By definition. Oh well.
Funding received.
Alright, so there's a little bit more funding that I got from exporting metals. What I could do is send another cargo rocket with just a teeny payload. What I might do is actually just wait for the Donager to return home and send a little bit bigger of a payload. But the Nauvoo is almost ready to land, which is bringing much needed machine parts and electronics. Getting stuff like the scrubber repaired. Because if the scrubber doesn't get repaired, I'm going to have a lot of other repairs necessary. A ton of metals are going to require repairs, which is going to be brutal. Don't want that to happen. Alright, so here's the Nauvoo. And with this, I am going to go to production and put an electronics factory. I'm going to put that here. I actually don't like that dome. I'll have it be this style. Alright, so we'll get the electronics factory going. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the engineers that have graduated, all 5 of them, live in this living complex so that they can work in this electronics factory, and I should be able to manufacture plenty of electronics. I'm also going to do the same for machine parts and for polymers when I get there. I'm not quite there yet. And the electronics also, yep, have repaired the scrubber. Perfect. Alright, that's almost built. Nagata, you need something to do. Just keep stripping the world of metals. I'd like not to have to mine my own metals with geologists, and instead just have the transport do it all for me. It's kind of nice. All right, so the electronics factory is going to be a high priority enforcing the specialists. I'm also going to amplify it. No, actually, I'm not going to amplify it. I don't really have the polymers yet. And then what I'm going to do is also say, do not allow passages for work, meaning that my engineers are going to have to live in Mariner Valley 2. So the best thing for me to do now is to select the engineers and that live elsewhere and force them to live here. Oh, another thing I need to do is forbid the exportation of rare metals so that there's rare metals for me to even process. Because otherwise they're going to not have work to do. So now we have a ton of engineers piloted into this electronics factory. It's telling me that my electronics are low, but that's not going to be an issue in a minute here because, boom, we're about to manufacture a ton of them, which is great. And then you can just return home. I don't really... I'll have you sitting on the landing pad. It doesn't hurt. Actually, no, I'll have you return home. Alright, so soon we're going to be manufacturing all the electronics that we need, which is fantastic. I'm excited about that. Other things I could do for this is to... Let's give this place nice gardens and stuff, because the garden upkeep is really, really cheap, and I can afford to add things like gardens, and that's not going to hurt me much. And then you are going to live over here. So yeah, this is sort of an engineering only. You can specify what kind of people are allowed to live here and have it be very, very specialized. I'm not going to do that yet. Ooh, this dome needs maintenance. Guys, maintain it. There it is. Alright, so here's the electronics we already have made in that one work shift 1.3, which is more than our, which is about meets the requirements of our maintenance, which is great. And then I also want to add the production of polymers. So as you can see, we could add a little polymer factory. The polymers here. So here's the issue. The polymer factory has a maintenance of machine parts. And it is an outbuilding. So I think what I'm going to do is put it here, and I'm going to have to move this landing pad a little bit.
Funding received.
Alright, we'll just stack 2 landing pads right here. So we'll get that underway. So I'm also low on polymers, I'm also low on machine parts, and we're going to start manufacturing all 3. So, polymers, super, super important. Let's force some of the people to work over there. Now, working outside of the dome, like such that I am, there is a sanity damage. Now, there are some research like this one, Martian-born resilience, which means that Martian-born people don't suffer the insanity of working outdoors, but I don't have that researched yet. All right, so for now, I don't really have enough. I don't have enough engineers to. I need more graduates, lifetime graduates, going through the engineering program to. Oh no, there's a few engineers over here that I can have move. There we go. So is there other engineers that I haven't found? Okay, nope. So we'll still have some people going through the school and nursery. But now we're going to be manufacturing our polymers. Oh, and there's some no specialization. So let's enforce... enforce specialists here and enforce specialists here. So that the people that don't have specializations go through the training program. And I'm going to put these on auto because it looks like both of our I'm just going to power off the security station for now. It looks like both of our officers retired. So they're no longer patrolling, and this security station can't be manned. Also appears to me like I am in dire need of botanists. So let's, in fact, force botanists to go through the program here. Because right now I have, like, 2 botanists, and that's really bad for, you know, mouths to feed. I've got to head that off. So I have 7 engineers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's my 7th? Where is he working? Excuse all my clicking. I'm just sort of curious because I thought I had everything. I don't know where he could be working. Or she. Your work electronics factory. Let's just go through them. Polymer factory. Looking for a job. Okay, you're going to work electronics. Not looking for... Oh, you're, Oh, you're the genius. That's what's going on. She's the genius that doesn't work and gives me science instead. That's fine. I forgot about her. Yeah, here's one of our celebrities who is the security. She's retired, so she's just hanging out in the parks now. No issue. Totally expected. Alright, come on, children. There we go. We're getting them through schooling, because we really need some specialists. For botany. Botany. Let's keep grabbing metals. Well, guys, that's about all the time I have for this episode. In fact, it went a little long, but I hope you appreciated it. Next episode, I'm really going to have to make an effort to start manufacturing all the things that I need. I'm most of the way there. I'm not currently manufacturing my own machine parts, but I think, at least for the short term, botany and making sure that I'm growing all my food is going to be a higher requirement. If you have any tips, tricks, feedback for me, drop me a line. I do really appreciate any of the helpful feedback that you've been giving. Catch you all next time. Thanks for watching. Adios.